and welcome to the British Dappers. The aim of this short video is to show you how to clean a pair of shoes. Okay, here we have a pair of shoes. These were recently purchased on eBay for £5. They've only been worn a couple of times, as you can see, but they haven't been cleaned and they are a little bit stained. What we need to do is clean the shoes to a reasonable state. To do that, first of all, you're going to need a toothbrush or a small brush and a cloth. So we actually use the brush to clean inside the welt with a bit of water, and use the cloth, dampen the cloth and wash the shoe down to get rid of any debris. It's very important that you get clearly right inside the welt to get all the debris out. Especially if the shoe hasn't been worn for a while, you tend to get dust build up in that area. Ideally, to stretch the shoes, you need something like this. This is a shoe stretcher, and it makes sure that the folds in the shoe are clearly pushed out. If you can't afford these or haven't got any of these, simply use a piece of newspaper, scrunch it up and push it firmly into the shoe. This will push the shoe out and have the same effect. To actually polish the shoe, we need some shoe polish. I use kiwi. It's a very cost-effective way of cleaning your shoes. And you need 3 brushes. A brush to put the polish on, a brush to take the polish residue off, and a finishing brush to give it a final buff. In addition to this, a duster or a 100% cotton t-shirt would be ideal for applying the wax or taking the wax off. And in addition to that, you might consider the use of a pair of rubber gloves or latex gloves. This is because when you're applying the polish to the shoes, you may find that the polish will stain your fingers over time. Now we need to clean the shoes, and we'll go to the sink to do that. As you can see, we've already removed the laces from the shoe, and we now need to fit the shoe stretcher in to the shoe to get a nice tight fit. The next thing we need to do is just get a little bit of water on the welt, on the brush, and make sure we get right inside that welt. The next thing, wet the cloth, and this is where we need to get the shoe nice and clean. Pay particular attention to this front area of the shoe, where sometimes you get some creases in there and the debris can get lodged in there. Clean the surround of the shoe after you've actually done the main part of the shoe. That way, if there's any dirt or grime on the sole of the shoe, we don't get it transferred onto the leather itself. All we need to do now is let the shoes dry, and this is ideally not done in front of any heat. So put it in a nice dry place and it will dry out within an hour. Here we are a couple of hours later. As you can see, the shoes have now dried out and they are ready for polish. As you can see, we've cleaned both shoes and stretched both shoes now, and you'll see there are no creases in the front because a slight amount of shrinkage has actually pulled that back into its original shape. We're just going to focus on one shoe first of all, and what we need to do now is just apply with the brush for the first 2 or 3 coats some polish to the shoe. So simply rubbing it into the leather itself. It's wise to do this over a paper or a newspaper or a cloth because the polish does tend to flick off the brush and it can actually stain clothes and work surfaces. Make sure you get the polish right into the welt as well. And we now need to leave them to dry for about 10 minutes or longer. The longer you leave the polish on the shoe, the better the shine will be when it comes to taking the polish off. Okay, here we are 15 minutes later, and we've actually, you might be able to just see there's a slight dullness to the shoe compared to the one that we haven't put the polish on. That's the polish dried on the shoe, which is what we want. So to continue with this shoe, what we need to do now is use a brush to take off the residue polish off the shoe. You need to give it a firm brush . Make sure you get right inside that welt all the way around the shoe. Okay, now we just use the final brush to give it a real buff. Need to be firm with the brush. Again, get inside that welt. Okay, this is literally 5 minutes and one layer of polish, and you can see the difference already between the polished shoe and the unpolished. With time and several layers of polish over a period of a week, we should get to a stage where you get a high shine on the shoe and it's easier to do each time. And eventually we can progress to what's called a mirror shine on the toe cap to give it an even higher shine finish. But that's another video. Now all we have to do is to do this one, and we've completed the shoes ready to wear. And here we are, the finished article. As you can see, nice shine on them. This is only one coat of polish. Obviously the more you put on, the higher the shine. And just remember, with these were off eBay for £5 because somebody had worn them for one or two wears. They retail at about £100 and I've got them for £5. Take care.